So maybe tell me about the first 4 books. Like, when did you say, like, hey, I've got things that I have to share and I'm going to do them in a book? And then maybe just tell me just a little bit about kind of the response and kind of what you got from those early books that got you rolling.
Sure. So actually it was book number 6. I'm lying. Okay. So it was number 6. So my first book was just a book called Buy a Game. And that was me just telling my story, because at that time, my whole audience was basketball, 100% basketball. And these players just wanted to know my story. So I just wrote up my story from the time I started playing till the time I got out of college. This is only about a 7-year period, 8-year period. So I just wrote that book as a storybook. That's the only book of mine that's a narrative. All the rest of them are more like self-help, business related. Yep. And that was the first one. I put it out for free. And then the next 4 were the 4 books I called a bulletproof bundle. So that was The Mirror of Motivation, was my discipline book. Super You is my confidence book. The Mental Handbook, my mindset, mental toughness book, and 100 Mental Game Best Practices. That's the personal accountability book. So those are my first 5. And then when it came to the Overseas Basketball Blueprint, where that came from, Bradley, was actually I had written a bunch of articles about how to play basketball overseas, because I would get this question a lot. How do I play overseas? Or how do I get an agent? Or which exposure camp should I go to? And I took a bunch of those articles that I had written, because I had written like 30 articles at that time, and I compiled them, edited them, and put them into a book. And that became the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Years later, I wrote 3 more books, and I created the Overseas Blueprint bundle. So now there are 4 books in that whole bundle. One about agents, one about exposure camps, one about the business, and one and the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. And you are 100% right. This is a great niche audience, because these are ball players they feel like they're good enough to play pro, but they're not playing pro yet. This is an amazing niche. And if this niche of people had more money, that would be all I'd be doing for a living. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation. I would just focus on them, and I would just make millions and millions of dollars owning this niche, because I started this niche. I did start this niche. I say that humbly but confidently. The only reason that I don't do that full time is because think about who you're talking about. Players who feel like they're good enough to play basketball, but they have no job. So it's not a lot of money to pull out of that niche. So that's why I have the books, but I don't focus on that business-wise. That's where it came from.